Hi, my name is Pat Doherty. I'm a mechanical engineer and also a C67 quad. It's really difficult to get around outdoors, and that's why I developed the FreeWheel, especially to play with my kids and to be more independent. I want to thank everybody for buying a FreeWheel. I hope you like it as much as I do. There are 4 basic steps to set up your FreeWheel for your specific wheelchair. This video will demonstrate each step. Let's begin. The first step in setting up your FreeWheel is to determine which footrest type you have and whether or not the cup shim in the clamp needs to be removed. With a 2-tube footrest with no plate and a 2-tube footrest with a plate, you leave the cup shim in. With a clamp plate footrest, the cup shim needs to be removed. To do this, use a small Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold the cup shim to the clamp. Once the screws are removed, gently pry the cup shim out. The next step is to determine which straight shim to use, or if a straight shim is necessary. With a 2-tube footrest, use the thickest straight shim. With a 2-tube with a plate footrest, use the thinnest straight shim. With a clamp plate, you do not need a straight shim. If a shim is needed, gently insert it into what we call the brick of the FreeWheel, making sure you have both edges inside the grooves of the brick. In step 3, you are adjusting the angle of the FreeWheel, so when you're using the FreeWheel, your casters are off the ground. Start by putting the FreeWheel into the tail dragger position with the tire out front, and clamp the FreeWheel onto your footrest. If the angle is correct, the tire should rest firmly on the ground. In this scene, you can see the tire is off the ground. In the second scene, you are unable to clamp the FreeWheel to the footrest. Both of these situations mean the angle is incorrect and needs to be adjusted. To adjust the angle, you will need to slightly loosen bolts A, B, and C on each side of your FreeWheel. Once both sides are loosened, you are now able to adjust the angle bolt. Using an Allen wrench, tighten the angle bolt if the wheel was off the ground in the tail dragger position, or loosen the angle bolt if the tire was too low and you were unable to clamp it to your footrest. Test the angle by installing your FreeWheel onto the footrest to see if you've adjusted it correctly and the tire is now firmly on the ground. Remove the FreeWheel from your chair and then retighten bolts A, B, and C on both sides of the FreeWheel. Next, install your FreeWheel onto your footrest and roll forward to rotate the tire so it is under the FreeWheel frame. Your caster should now be lifted off the ground. Remember, when you are installing your FreeWheel onto your chair or when taking it off, it should always be in the tail dragger position. In step 4, you determine which rear end to use and then how to install it. If the depth of your footrest, front to back, is up to 5 inches, you will use the short rear end. If the depth of your footrest is 5 to 6 7/8 inches, you will use the long rear end. Insert the rear end into the brick of the FreeWheel with the tail facing toward the ground. Slightly tighten. It is important that you do not completely tighten the rear end. If you clamp the FreeWheel onto your footrest with the rear end set too short, it can damage the rear end. Make sure to clamp the FreeWheel onto your footrest before completely tightening. With the FreeWheel on your footrest, use the Allen wrench to tighten the bolt so the rear end just touches the footrest tube or plate. If you're using a straight shim and your footrest depth is less than 6 inches, then you need to cut the straight shim to match the depth of your footrest. If you want to have access to your FreeWheel wherever you are, you will want to install the FreeWheel storage perch on the back bar of your wheelchair. The perch can be installed with the perch pointing up for small chairs or pointing down for higher chairs. There are 4 different perch post sizes you will need to choose from. Choose the post that is like your footrest so that the FreeWheel clamp works on both your footrest and perch post. If you have a 2-tube footrest, are using the thickest straight shim, and the cup shim has not been removed, you will use the round perch post. If you're using the middle thickness straight shim, and the cup shim has not been removed, you will use the smallest D perch post. If you're using the thinnest straight shim, and the cup shim has not been removed, you will use the middle D perch post. If you're not using any of the straight shims, and the cup shim has been removed, you will use the largest D perch post. Place the two pieces of the perch clamp around the back bar and tighten both screws until it grabs the bar and does not rotate or slip. Thank you again for choosing the FreeWheel, your one piece of adaptive equipment that brings freedom, mobility, and independence.